What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy, Motor City Don P. You already know what time it is. And today I'm reminded of something. Reminded of a little ditty. I just got that type of energy today. And today's energy goes a little bit something like this. All right, already show goes on all night. In the morning, dream so long. Anybody ever wonder when they will catch the sun up? Just remember when it come up, the show goes on, and the show goes on. When you see me in front of TV, one thing's for certain, three things are for sure. Number one, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. Number two, we came to give you stats, not none of that static. And number three, perhaps the most important number of them all. Number three. To make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And you may be asking yourself, how, Don? How, Mr. P, does one keep the Lions news pragmatic? Well, it's very simple. I'll tell you. I don't hide anything. It's very easy. Smash the like button, subscribe, share. There is a part of the description that says, if you like it, then go ahead and click subscribe on it. If you like it, go ahead and click subscribe on it. Oh. It doesn't say oh, but you already know what it is. And speaking of sharing with your peoples, once you share this stream with your mothers, your brothers, your fathers, your sisters, your cousins, your uncles, your brothers, your fathers, your sisters, you name it, you have indeed cared about those people. We got some things to get into today. Bradley Matthias, Jerome Cornelius, Shockwarius, Geneticist, Ignatius, Matildus, Horatio, Claudius, Holmes spoke at the Senior Bowl because he's down there at the Senior Bowl where all them defensive linemen is eating. All them edges is out there eating people's lunch. And he ain't even looking at them. Ain't that a shame? He is watching chefs, shout out me, in the kitchen, cooking up sacks, cooking up pressures. He's watching all them dudes, all them highlights that are coming out of the Senior Bowl. He's watching those live and in full effect. And he's not paying a single bit of attention to any of them dudes. That is going to be the refrain from me for the entire offseason. I will do a mock draft and I will tell you, I drafted such and such edge in such and such round, but if it's before the 6th round, Brad Holmes ain't going to do it. I want to give you the hope, but I can't give it to you. I can't give you that hope because I haven't seen Brad Holmes ever take an edge rusher seriously outside of Aiden Hutchinson. He's been unserious about the edge rusher position. He's really been unserious about the defensive line position. He's really been unserious about the offensive line position. He's been unserious about the trenches. 1 first-round pick invested on the first round, on the offensive line. 1 first-round pick invested on the defensive line. But we've got words from Bradley, Matthias, Ignatius, Horatio, Claudius, Sagittarius, Equanimous, Jackson, Smith, and Jigba Holmes. We've got words from him, and we're going to get into it today. What is up, though, everybody in the chat? What up, though, Pierre Sargent? What up, though? Who's that? Gary Reed. What up, though? He said, so we are back to trusting Ignatius' gut? No, we are not. Maybe some people are, but we are not. Are we close to adding Judas to the name? It's funny you should ask that because I noticed something. If you look at the thumbnail, the man is in Packers colors. And it's funny because I thought that I was like, I put that up there and I was like, yeah, these are Packers colors. And then you call him Judas and it all comes to light. You see what I'm saying? I didn't even plan to call him Judas today. But I did have the thought in my mind that said, hey, he's wearing Packers colors. Maybe that's why he drafted Broderick Martin. He drafted Hendon Hooker. He drafted Manu. He drafted Isaac Tesla with 3 third-round picks. Maybe that's why he has scuttled the ship when it comes to depth. Maybe that's why. We got the vet squad that's full of practice squad players, because the vet squad is just another name that Dan Campbell uses for the practice squad. And we know what the practice squad does. They are professional practice players. And what do? They practice football professionally. What are we talking about? We're talking about practice. We're talking about practice. So it all goes hand in hand. Call him Judas. Gut feeling we drafting a DT. If we draft a DT in the first round after taking Tyleik Williams last season, I will be officially out on this regime. Officially out. We built this team from the gut feeling. We built this city. We built this city on rock and roll. We built this team. We built this team on gut feelings. Okay. Quintricia's gut built the O-line. That is true. That is true. Hope springs eternal, but not with Brad. Those are facts, Brett to it. I'm a TV news producer, Don. It's what I do. I see the small stuff. Well, Pierce Sargent, let me get on the channel. If you need some Lions content, I'll be glad to be a guest. Brad can get fired now. He's an idiot. I'm gonna give him a chance. I'm gonna give Brad a chance to fix what he has done. But I do believe, and here's a hot take theory. Bradley, Matthias, Jerome, Cornelius, Judas, Ignatius, Fantascimo, or Francesco, Fantastico, Horace, Ignatius. I said Ignatius already. Aurelius, Odysseus, Julius, Cesar Chavez Holmes did all of that stuff in the third round this year or this past year with Isaac Tesla to not have third round picks, to not be able to draft in the next 2 drafts a project player in the third round, because he knew he couldn't control himself. So he said, if I want to keep my job, I have to make it impossible for me to pick a project player in the third round and throw the picks away. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw the picks away now, so that when someone looks at the next draft, I can say, see, it doesn't fit. if it doesn't fit, you must acquit. Shout out if you know, use the hashtag. Lord have mercy. Syndicate already flamed him. Every creator will be doing it all week. Syndicate's my guy. Syndicate's my guy. And the only reason I am giving Bradley a chance, okay, is you've made a mess. And now you've got to fix it. That's all. Do I have faith that he will fix it? I do not. Because cap room, be damned. Like I said, for those of you that were here yesterday, I did fix the situation where it wasn't giving us enough cap room and it wasn't, doing the restructures properly. You didn't have the ability to convert a player's 100% base salary to signing bonus, but we have that ability now. We add void years, and spread it out over 5 years. So the money is not an issue. We start the offseason with negative cap money, and rest assured, we will have nearly $100 million in cap space if we just restructure all of the big contracts that have already started. Obviously, Aiden Hutchinson's contract is not available for restructure because it hasn't started yet. Jameson Williams is not available for restructure because his contract hasn't started yet. The new money has not yet started. And then the new money, you have to be getting paid new money for, I think, at least a year before you can get a restructure. So Penei Sewell is eligible. Of course, Jared Goff is eligible. Amon-Ra St. Brown is eligible. Ali McNeil is eligible because he did 1 year on his new deal already, and so on and so forth. But yeah, what other tactical sport? And we really have no choice, LO. Only we can have wishes. That is true. We have to give this man a chance because he's got 2 more years on his contract. Now, if he royally screws the pooch this season, he may be fired. If he doesn't royally screw the pooch, then he will have next season. And then whatever happens after next season, he'll be extended or he will not be extended. I think 2 restructures gets us there to 100. Which 2 restructures do you think? Because I've done 3 restructures and I've gotten us to 77. Because we are 100 million over the cap to start per spot track. so we've got a negative $100 million. That's the problem. Or do we would have to restructure Goff. So restructuring Goff and St. Brown gets us to about 50 million. Restructuring Goff, St. Brown, and Sewell and Aleem McNeil and some others gets us to like that $80 million range. Because you have to remember, we are coming from so far down. And then also what else I'm not factoring in right now is the raise of the salary cap. How much is it going to go up? Is it going to go up 10 million? Is it going to go up nearly 20 million? If it goes up 20 million, then we will be in a situation where it's 100 million that we have freed up. So Spotrac said negative 7 million. Okay, let me check. I will recheck my stuff because negative 7 is a whole lot different than negative 100. So I'll recheck it. Do the players have to agree to restructure? Yes. You can't just restructure a contract because once you restructure a contract, what happens is, for example, I will take Jared Goff's $53 million cap hit. I mean, not cap hit. His cap hit is $69 million. I'll take Jared Goff's $53 million base salary, and I will give that all to him at once as a signing bonus. So then his base salary will be like $1 million. So then his cap hit will be significantly less. And then you're also spreading the cap hit money over like 5 or 3 more years because he's got 3 void years on his contract, but there's no money on those void years. So when you put money on the void years, it changes the way that a person gets paid. So they have to agree to that. And you would say, well, wouldn't everybody agree to just 53 million right up front? Most people would, especially Jared Goff, who's the quarterback who needs to win. Jared Goff can't be. He doesn't have the luxury. He he seems to care, right? He seems to care about what the fans think about him and things of this nature. So he knows he doesn't have the luxury to be, hey, I'm a $69 million albatross hanging around your neck, which is why you can't get a defense in here, why you can't get anything in here. So um, most of the time players will agree to restructures. I don't know offhand of any players that did not agree. Um, but also because what it does is it immediately increases the dead money. So that makes it harder for you to move on from the player. And maybe the player is like, yeah, I don't want to really be here. So don't do the restructure because, I'm going to take whatever. I'll make it easier for you to cut me. Right. If you do the restructure and then you try to cut me, there's going to be more dead money. So, and that's why you should mess with the mock machine so you can learn these things. um, they do get the money. I thought we were over by 58 million with 20 million. We rolled over. Then if we restructured the big three, we wind up with 118. So we will get all of those numbers looked at in a bit. So we want to make sure we have the correct numbers. It does lock them up longer because of the ability to the dead money makes it harder to move off of them. Yeah. All right. Let's get to what Brad Holmes had to say. So we have an article here. Oh, well, before I do that, because this goes into the article. So before I get to what Brad Holmes has to say, I've got some notes for you guys. Okay. Mike McDaniel, if you didn't know, had his introductory press conference yesterday as the Los Angeles Chargers offensive coordinator, and he had some interesting things to say. Now, these are tidbits from what he had to say. These are just notes, okay? He wanted a mobile quarterback. He wants to run RPOs. He alluded that he could have picked any OC job he interviewed for. He wants to be a head coach again soon. We all know that. Wife's family is in Cali. Thought about his daughter's future. Wants to bring in his own coaches if need be. I don't understand why that wouldn't be. Okay, yeah. Okay, so if we're going for the Dan Campbell wants to have complete control over the staff, then if Mike McDaniel is trying to bring in his own offensive staff, then Dan Campbell doesn't have connections to those people. So that fits our nepotism-based hiring cycle. Harbaugh wasn't trying to sell him anything. So he felt that Dan Campbell was trying to sell him something. Chargers have a defense he can rely on. We do not. We do not have a defense that he can rely on. So as an offensive coordinator, apparently you want to be able to know that you can call a play and it may be risky, and then your defense is going to be able to go out there and back you up if it blows up in your face. We do not have that. Okay? The Los Angeles Chargers have a vastly better defense than the Detroit Lions. I'm just saying. It was a theme of all the playoff teams, all of them, vastly better defenses than the Detroit Lions. Vastly. It's not even a question, right? It ain't even a question how my dough flows is good. You got those ladies riding your bump like a Tahoe. What you didn't know, it's easy, but hear me though. Baby girl, best have my money for sure before they go running them out. Okay. Hashtag, if you know, use the hashtag. All right. got along with ownership and Jim Harbaugh immediately. Uh, Look, Mike McDaniel, and I watched the press conference. Mike McDaniel is on the spectrum. He's got Asperger's. He's got something, and that's not a slight. That's not an anything. But what I'm saying is the quirks that he has. Maybe he gets along better with Jim Harbaugh because he's quirky as well. Jim Harbaugh is also somehow on the spectrum somewhere. Um, and that's again, it's not a slight, it's not an insult, it is not anything. I'm just talking about the personalities. Jim Harbaugh and Mike McDaniel are both quirky guys. And two quirky guys getting together and instantly hitting it off makes sense. So again, it is not a shot. Don't nobody cancel me. I'm not big enough to get canceled, but don't nobody be saying, "Oh, Motor City Don." No, I didn't say anything about autistic people or people on the spectrum. I did not disparage. I did not denigrate. I did not even slightly make any sort of insult. So don't even try that. No free sponsors. It's not like they need them from me anyway. Um, all right. So that is what happened with Mike McDaniel. That's a little bit into why it wasn't a fit. Barry Sanders, best player. That is correct, sir. Um, you are correct. Even though you're a Packers fan, you are correct about that. Now we know why they went differently. Yes. So that sounds like Mike McDaniel turned us down. Um, it does. It does. It might have been a mutual thing, right? It might have been a mutual thing because the Lions are saying it wasn't a fit, and he's like, "Well, I want to bring in my own staff, my own coaches." So it's like, "Yeah, that's not going to work for us," and you're like, "Yeah, that's not going to work for me." It feels like it was more mutual because again, the Lions did not need to come out and say he wasn't a fit. That actually makes them look bad. They come out and say he wasn't a fit, and then you go and then you hire Drew Pretzel. And then there was backlash with the hiring of Drew Pretzel, so then you bring in Mike Kafka on top of it. You know what I mean? So if Mike McDaniel turned us down, I would have just let him turn me down, and I would have just said that. We love Mike, but Mike wanted to go in a different direction. PC, you don't have to throw him under the bus. Nothing. You don't have to be like, oh, Mike didn't want golf. Yada 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 yada. No, no. As they say somewhere in New York, oh, Mike didn't want golf. He didn't want this person. He wanted. I don't know where that comes from. He said this, that, I don't know where that comes from. Anyway, but they do it in New York. But I feel like it was more mutual. What would I do without you? Yes. Yes, it was Ja Rule for sure. Hello, what up, though? Just a fan. And golf can't run RPOs. He cannot. He cannot run RPOs at all. Not disparaging golf, but that's a fact. Yes, it's no disparagement. Gru Pretzel is his name, and because you know why I call him Gru Pretzel, because he looks like Gru or Mastermind, and I can't say his name without going right. I know it's Petzing, but when I'm speaking, it always like Pretzing is the first thing that comes to my head for whatever reason. So I call him Gru Pretzel. And if he turns out to be good, then I'll learn to call him Drew Petzing. You see, I'm working on it. Dan is one who backed out due to his ego. Again, it seemed very mutual. I don't know if you heard the notes that I had from the press conference, the introductory press conference from Mike McDaniel, but it seemed like truly wasn't a fit. Mike McDaniel wanted things that the Lions didn't want to give him. You know what I mean? So because he wants to steal the moon. No, because he looks like he wants to steal the moon. Brad is the one who backed out of the McDaniel deal due to his ego. So that doesn't have anything to do with Brad. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's get to what Brad, Lee, Matthias, Judas, Ignatius, Horatio, Horace, Quintavious, Quintez, Shaquarius, Caesar, Julius, Holmes had to say. Oh my goodness. I couldn't think of a lot of Roman or Greek names at all. All right. So here is an article from Total Apex Sports by Matt Brown. Brad Holmes' ego will sink the Lions, says Just a Fan. I think Brad Holmes' ego will sink him. I have a thought. It's a question. I'll ask you guys a question. Based on all the third round picks that we wasted and the fourth round picks, based on the fact that instead of getting Hendon Hooker and Broderick Martin, we could have gotten Colby Turner and Yahya Diaby, or. There's a lot of guys that went after Hendon Hooker. Maybe we couldn't have got both Colby Turner and Yahya Diaby, but we could have gotten one of them. How far back? So let's say, and this is something in the future, so you can't particularly answer it completely. At this point, if you were to say Bradley is relieved of his duties and we've got an emergency GM that we've hired to come in here and turn this around, how far back do you think those third round picks and lack of free agent signings and allowing traded assets to walk out of the door like Carlton Davis and cutting Za'Darius Smith, how far back do you think that this franchise has been set from contending? And I'm talking about just looking at this current state of the roster. We've got about 8 dudes under contract. Okay. It's rough. Okay. The cap space, again, I'm not worried about the cap space. We're gonna do cap space. And I actually do have another thing to share with you guys. Okay. About how to do deals. I just remembered it. I have it actually right here on my computer in front of me, but I just forgot about it. But I'm going to share that with you after this. All right. But you can answer that question in the chat. How far back do you think that this roster has been set? All right. The Detroit Lions offense took a lot of heat from the fans and analysts in 2025. It caused the team to overhaul the offensive staff, which led to many wondering. Okay, and it says the headline is Detroit Lions GM Brad Holmes breaks silence on new offensive coaches. Okay. To wondering who would really be controlling the offense. The message coming out of the Lions front office this week is loud and clear. Change is coming, and they are embracing it fully. Following the hire of Drew Petzing, see, I almost said Pretzing again. Following the hire of Drew Petzing as the new offensive coordinator and the surprising addition of Mike Kafka to a high-ranking offensive role, Lions general manager Brad Holmes shed some light on what the future holds. For fans wondering who is really in charge of the play calling sheet, the answer is definitive. This isn't a collaborative effort where too many cooks spoil the broth, according to the man in charge of building this roster. This is Petzing's offense now. This is what Bradley, Matthias, Jerome etc., 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 etc. Holmes said. He said, it is Drew Pretzel's offense. Okay? Drew Pretzing checking every box for the Detroit Lions. When an offensive coordinator leaves for a head coaching job, the shoes to fill are massive. The Lions needed someone who wasn't just a system guy, but a problem solver. According to Brad Holmes, Lions GM Drew Petzing was the perfect fit because he didn't just bring a playbook, he brought adaptability. Speaking at the Senior Bowl with the Detroit Free Press, Holmes emphasized that Petzing checked all the boxes. But the most interesting nugget was about autonomy. Often, when teams hire new coordinators, there is a lingering question of whether the head coach will meddle or if the new guy has to run the team system. Holmes shut that down immediately. Look, it's his offense, Holmes said. It's not something where he's got to do something else or be like. This is his show, man. Now, I do not have any excitement because I'm not going to allow myself to get excited. We did not hear that about Johnny Morton. What we heard about Johnny Morton was that he was going to run Osama bin Johnson's system. Pretty much. He was here when we put it in. He knows about it. He knows what Jared Goff can do, blah, 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 blah. I am not going to allow myself to be excited because I don't know what Drew Petzing can do with his own system. However, I am excited to not see Jahmyr Gibbs smashing his head into the line of scrimmage on every 3rd and 5 or every 3rd and 2. I'm excited to see some sort of innovation. I am excited to be getting away from the shadow of Osama bin Johnson. If it is truly his show, if he's running the show, and there's not going to be any input from Dan Campbell, which is not, I don't believe it. But if this is true, it is a welcome change. If this is true, what the frick? Can y'all hear my mic? Can you hear me? I think because, yeah, I got 2 different places where there are levels. There are no levels over here on this screen, but there are levels on this screen. So y'all can hear me, right? Just let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Okay, cool. All right. I don't know what's going on over here, but as long as it's going on. Okay, cool. So if this is true, I'm excited to be getting away from the things that didn't work last year. Last year, there was Johnny Moe with the smoke screens all the time. 3rd and 15, 3rd and 47, 3rd and 1. It didn't matter. It was the smoke screen. I'm excited about someone being able to come in here, look at the weapons that we have, and do something. I've never been an offensive coordinator in the NFL. I've been an offensive coordinator on the high school level. I can tell you that what I did was I tried to use the strengths of the players that I had. This, you would think, any offensive coordinator that is in the NFL, this should be a no-brainer for them to do this. Johnny Moe was definitely a no-brainer, if you catch what I did there. Okay? Because Jameson Williams could not get the ball in his offense unless he was behind the line of scrimmage or 75 yards down the field. So I'm going to allow myself to be optimistic with the fact that we're going to do something different. And the reason I'm going to allow myself to be optimistic that we're going to do something different is because anybody that's watched me for a while, anybody that's with me during the games when I live stream them, and if everybody in here ain't with me when I'm live streaming, what you doing? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I do the boss up, get Tutty's dance. You know what I mean? Like it's an experience. But if anybody that knows that I'm so tired of our third down choices. I'm so tired of watching Jahmyr Gibbs run the football directly into the middle of the line, whether it's 1st and 10 or 3rd and 10. I don't want to see this crap anymore. Jahmyr Gibbs, just like I said about Javid Best to Scott Linehan, stop taking your Ferrari into the woods. It's a Ferrari. David Montgomery is your Pathfinder. David Montgomery is your Ford F-150. David Montgomery is your Land Rover or your Land Cruiser. You get it. He's your off-road vehicle. Take him through the woods. Put both of them on the field at the same time so your defense doesn't know if it's over the river or through the woods. But they know you're trying to get to grandmother's house, which is the end zone. You see what I did there? Do you see what I did? Yeah, boy, what? Let me tell you what. So I'm excited about that. Now, of course, there have been knocks about Drew Pretzel and his ability to scheme up the run, the pass game. And then if you're saying this guy brings problem solving, I don't. Marvin Harrison never lived up to his draft stock, but he's only been in the league, 1 or 2 years? Maybe it was Kyler Murray. Maybe it was Drew Pretzel. Maybe it was the fact that you had to go from Kyler Murray to Jacoby Brissett, and you never really got on the same page with Kyler Murray. Now you have to get on the same page with another quarterback, and his season was, he had a couple injuries. Maybe all of that was just like he's not panning out and he needs a fresh start. I'm not saying he needs to go to another team, but the fresh start with a quarterback that's going to be with you for the entire year and an offensive coordinator that's going to come in and use your strengths. But that's what this guy's supposed to do, right? So I'll allow myself to be excited about that, and I'll read the rest of the article, and then I'll get to your comments. All right. This level of trust is huge. It suggests that head coach Dan Campbell and the front office are willing to let the offense evolve. Didn't I just say that? I just said that in more words, but the same thing. Okay. Petzing, who navigated a revolving door of quarterbacks and injuries during his time with the Arizona Cardinals, earned his job by proving he can maximize whatever personnel he has on the field. I just want to let you know I haven't read this article. So when I'm saying these things, and then the article says the things right after it, I'm just saying. Okay, I'm just saying. I'm not the guy that Amon-Ra St. Brown was talking to. The guy that doesn't know ball. I'm not that guy. I'm just saying. All right. He doesn't try to jam square pegs into round holes. He builds a hole around the peg. See now, now you saying words now. You're gonna have me up here giddy, okay? Because when you say we don't want to jam a square peg into a round hole, Johnny Morton, we don't want to do that and say, hey, deep vertical passing game, Jared Goff. J-Mo can't get the ball underneath. He got to be 89 yards down the field, because if he's not 117 yards down the field, there's no use in throwing the ball to him. I mean, if it ain't 357 yards down the field, what are we doing? You got to throw that bomb 500 yards away. You got to look. Jameson Williams has to be 5 states over and 5 different football fields over before you can get him the football. That was the square peg round hole situation. And while it's not a high bar to be better than Johnny Mo, okay, I really want to see this. And I'm taking it with a grain of salt. The reason I'm taking it with a grain of salt because Johnny Mo had all this cash is. He was talking all this cash. He had so much to say about how he was going to use J-Mo. Oh, I'm about to get this dude. Boy, I'm going to tell you what. This boy, let me tell you what. Let me tell you what right here. I'm about to open up this offense, bro. This offense is going to be so wide open. Let me tell you what. We're going to open this offense up like a Mack truck driving through a horse, a convention. We're gonna drive this thing straight up the gut, wide open. We're gonna bust this thing down, and we're gonna do what we gotta do. Because let me tell you what, I've got so many weapons at my disposal. But I'm tell you what, I can use Jameson Williams. I can use Jahmyr Gibbs. I can use David Montgomery. I can use Amon-Ra St. Brown. I got boy. I'm gonna come in here. I'm not even gonna change nothing because we got so much to use, boy. And we just gonna do everything. Everything in existence that you ever seen done on an offense and stuff that you ain't never seen done on offense. You're gonna be like, boy, I didn't even know you could do that on offense. We're gonna have dudes on offense tackling other dudes. You're gonna be like, ain't that a flag? No, man, because it's Jameson Williams. That was Johnny Mo when he got hired. I love to be in the lab, boy. I like to tinker. Let me tell you what, boy. I get into the lab 3 o'clock in the morning. I leave the lab 2:30 in the morning. I go home, go to sleep for 2 seconds, and I'm back in the lab at 2:59 because I love to tinker with the offense. I'm all about self-scouting. I'm all about that. If you're not self-scouting, you're not getting any better. I like to say to myself, Johnny Mo, what can you do better today that you didn't do yesterday, Johnny Mo? I said, Johnny Mo, we didn't get David Montgomery enough carries. We're going to come in next game, get him 30. I got him 2. It's progress. It's progress. He went from 0 carries to 2, even though I said I was going to get him 30. I got him 2. Self-scouting. That's what I like to do. I like to dictate to the defense. I like to dictate. I don't like the defense to dictate to me. Okay, week number 1, Packers, the defense dictated to me everything, right? Everything. He was like, the defense said to me, like Shaq said to Kobe. He said, Kobe, how my ass tastes. That's what the defense said to me. And I said, I had no choice but to go ahead and answer it. I had to tell him what it tastes like because he put it all in my face. He put it all in my face and all in my mouth. Pause. That was Johnny Mo. So I'm just saying, I'm taking it with a grain of salt. Okay? That was Johnny Mo. All right. Adaptability over system. One of the biggest takeaways from Holmes' recent comments is the Lions' shift away from rigid systems. In the modern NFL, schemes get figured out quickly. What worked in week 1 might be obsolete by week 10. This sounds exactly like what we had to deal with last season. Holmes highlighted this trait in Petsing specifically. What I liked about him is that it's not a system, Holmes explained. It's what do you have? What's the personnel that you have? Like, what can we do? This philosophy aligns perfectly with Dan Campbell's grit mentality. It is about making the best of what you have and finding a way to win. We didn't do that on offense last year. Whether it is continuing to feed Jahmyr Gibbs in space, Jahmyr Gibbs in space, guys, are you hearing this? They said Jahmyr Gibbs in space. Lord have mercy. I'm holding down the Giddy. I'm holding it down because again, grain of salt. Go get me some salt. We gotta do it. It's about making the best of what you have and finding a way to win, whether it is continue to feed Jameer Gibbs in space or finding new ways to unlock Jameson Williams downfield. Petting adaptability suggests we might see a more fluid, reactive Lions offense in 2026. We're gonna have to see because I've been lied to before. I've been lied to before. Listen, when Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell step to the podium and start speaking, it's gonna be a wait and see approach from now on because I've been lied to. Johnny Moe was a lie. Kelvin Shepherd was a lie. I'm sorry. I've been lied to. Broderick Martin was a lie. Hendon Hooker was a lie. Manu Ginobili was a lie. Isaac Tesla was a lie. Now, Isaac Tesla is good, but 3 third-round picks is a lie. As Mojo Brooks says, and I know he's a Chicago Bears fan, I know you effing lying, okay? These were lies. So I've been lied to before, okay? It's Super Bowl or bust was a lie because if it was Super Bowl or bust, we're not drafting projects in the 3rd round. So I've been lied to before. If it's Super Bowl or bust, we're not letting Carlton Davis, Kevin Zeitler walk out of the door and cutting Zadarius Smith if it's Super Bowl or bust. I've been lied to. All right. The surprise addition, Mike Kafka. Just when we thought the offensive staff was set, the Lions threw a curveball that had everyone double checking their Twitter feeds. They hired former Giants offensive coordinator Mike Kafka for a senior offensive role. The reaction from Brad Holmes, pure excitement. We were really high when we hired Mike Kafka. I'm sorry, that's not what it says. It says we were really high on Kafka too in the process. And so to be able to get that one too, I was just like, holy cow, Holmes admitted. It is rare to land 2 high-level play callers in the same offseason. Adding depth is a massive win. Depth? Okay. I don't know what again, you just said this is entirely Group Pretzel show. Entirely. It is not going to be cooks in the kitchen. So let's see how they spin this one. Kafka brings experience developing quarterbacks, having worked with Patrick Mahomes and Daniel Jones, and offers another experienced voice in the room. Well, working with Daniel Jones in New York did nothing because he didn't do anything in New York, but he did do well, quite well, in Indianapolis when he got away from New York and Kafka. So I wouldn't put Daniel Jones on my resume for that one. All right. While Petting is running the show, having Kafka as a sounding board creates a brain trust. Sounds like chefs, cooks in the kitchen. On offense, that is frankly embarrassing in its richness. It provides insurance, creativity, and a diversity of ideas that should keep opposing defensive coordinators up at night. Again, shout out to Zach J. I love the idea of switching up at halftime. Group Pretzel gets the first half. Mike Kafka gets the second half. Talk about your halftime adjustments. Okay. All right. What this means for the Lions' future. The hiring of Petting and Kafka signals that the Lions aren't interested in maintaining the status quo. I sure do hope not. They aren't trying to just replicate the magic of previous seasons. They're trying to evolve. Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have always been about empowerment. They empower their players to be themselves, and now they are doing the same for their coaches. By handing the keys to Petting and surrounding him with qualified talent like Kafka, they're building a resilient infrastructure. So if they're doing this with their coaches, then here's the thing. Let Kelvin Shepherd run whatever the hell defense he wants to run. Because remember, when during the hiring process where we got Kelvin Shepherd and promoted him, we wanted to do a lot of the same stuff that Aaron Glenn was doing. So if it's about empowering the coaches, then you should let Kelvin Shepherd do whatever he wants on defense. Does that sound good? I think that's something y'all can get behind. Okay, cool. For fans, this should be encouraging. It shows a franchise that is proactive rather than reactive. They identified talent, they secured it, and now they are getting out of the way to let them work. Let's hope so. As we head toward the combine and free agency, the vision is coming into focus. The 2026 Detroit Lions offense won't look exactly like the 2025 version, and that might be exactly what they need to take the final step. Okay, I want y'all to remember this when the season starts. If that offense looks anything like last year's offense, if it's 35 and we run it up the gut with Jahmyr Gibbs every time, if it's 1st and 10 and we run it up the gut with Jahmyr Gibbs every time, this is all a lie. If it changes, this is the truth. I'm just telling you, keep the same injury. I'm not injury. Keep the same energy. I don't know if this is true or if this is false. That's the responsible answer. I'm not going to get excited about it until it's true. If it comes true, I'm 100% I'm on board. If it's a lie and it's more of the same, I'm off. All right, let me get to our comments. I know we got a lot of them. Let's see where we left off. Okay, there we go. All right. Melvin's name is getting too long to type with 200 characters. Oh. Dan saw McDaniel interviewing and said, "We done." I mean, it's an interview process. You go through the process. I think them wasted picks hurt a lot. Oh, that is easy. We're about 2 to 3 years away from being Super Bowl contenders. Okay. Keep up the great work, Don. Mr. Detroit City. Wait for your email, man. Where's it at? The wasted thirds, 2 years setback. Okay. Just years. Okay. Draft players are cheap talent. Golf will throw JMO to the moon. Yes, to the moon. So we get out of Osama's shadow with his best man. Yeah. Well, hey, listen, I'm trying. I'm trying. All right. Here's a hot take. I know it won't be popular. How about we move on from that offense? We look desperate trying to redesign that offense. And again, that's what I think that they're saying is going to happen. But we'll see. We'll see. We good on audio levels. I see what you did there. That offense isn't the only one that has ever worked. These are facts. Forget the offense. Lions defense sucks. Yeah, it does. Our offense last year looked like a Timu Usama offense. As an OC, I'd give Johnny a D plus, Dan a C. I give Johnny's an F. He's a big failure. Melvin's wife has been sorry, I would be called a hater, but I no longer trust Brad Marcellus Deceptus Holmes. Oh, Deceptus is nice. Deception. Like Spimo Rax always said, if you're not making the roster better, you're actively making the roster worse. Melvin hasn't been making the roster better. It seems like he's been standing pat. For sure. No disagreement there. Does Dan bring in Jim Schwartz to be second DC now? Yeah, where's the second DC? Like Kelvin Shepard really needs the help. Where is his co-defensive coordinator? Yeah, man. I want at least 2 coaches at all coaching positions, including myself. I'm hiring another co-head coach. The hire was a gut feeling, huh? There's a lot of gut feeling jokes going around today. Watch Tesla come out bald too, SMH. Don, I'll have my father get an email over. He's by the office daily. I'm in Lake Nona for a few weeks. Okay, gotcha. Um, I will save the contract stuff for tomorrow. Right now, we're gonna go mailbag, mailbag. What you gonna do? What you gonna do if they're reading you? Cynic, snick, 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 mailbag. Get your mailbag questions in. Get them in. Bask in it. I feel like if I try to cram too much into one show, this is the off season, so we get less topics. Right now, we got a lot of stuff to talk about because this is the beginning of the off season. The Super Bowl is not even finished yet. We got the Senior Bowl happening. We're going to be talking about the combine coming, the draft coming, and we're going to be talking about free agency. So there's a lot of stuff that we're going to be talking about. So still not trying to take good content, that I can get a good 20 minutes out of and just try to smash it down into 5 minutes. Because that's not going to work. All right, so get your mailbag questions in. I will get a few of them answered. And then I will skedaddle today. Not going to be a long hangout type of situation today. I do have something I have to do. Got an appointment. So mailbag questions. Mailbag. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they're reading you? Mailbag. Cynics, niggas in mailbag. Get your mailbag questions in. Get them in. Bask in it. Like Sammy Davis, baby, you need my mailbag questions in your hand. Shaboing, boing, man. You need my cash in your hand. Mailbag, is Max Crosby still an option? He was injured. He was dealing with an injury at the end of the season, so he might be on the table. He just might be. Mailbag, can we see your cap workings? What do you mean? Is that your question? Oh, you mean from the mock machine? Okay, from the mock machine. I'll throw it up there for you right quick. Throw it up, throw it up, throw it up, throw it up, throw it up. Bow, 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 bow. All right, let me see here. Let me throw this up. That's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted at all. All right, let's grab this. It's gonna take a little bit to load. All right, let me see. All right, let me go ahead and select my team. All right, selected the team. Mailbag, did we ever go to Spocktrot to see what monies Melvin is working with? We did not. We'll do that tomorrow though. Because I have to make sure that everything is fixed in this situation. So we'll get that tomorrow. Let's see. Where are we? Yeah, we're still checking the news. What we got going on now? Said Don P, you do great voices. You make me laugh. I appreciate you, man. I'm glad that I can entertain the folks. All right. So let me get this here. So like I said, it says we have this. Oh, so I added a new feature. Check this out. I want to negotiate with Trey Hendrickson, but I can't do that yet. So I'm going to manage the roster. Let me see. Is there any new team stuff? Okay. Bucky Brooks. This is about a mock draft. All right. So here with the restructure suggestions, you got Jared Goff. He's got say 50.1 million this year. So we're converting. You got this slider. Okay. Conversion amount. So we're not going to convert anything from his salary cap or his salary. Therefore, we're not going to save any money. Here's how much you're saving with every percentage point. Why are we doing that? Okay. All right. So it tells you as you add a percentage, 30% of his cap or his salary will save you 15 million. 50% is going to save you 25.1 million. And of course, 100% is going to save you 50 million. So we're going to add 3 void years and then we're going to change it. So now that's 51 million separated. Again, I will have to verify the amount of money that SpotTrack says that we have to start. So I will do that today and it should be ready tomorrow. Amon-Ra Penei Sewell, 38 million. We take his whole base salary. We're going to save 38 million. We're going to add three void years. Okay. Now, I will show you that. So that gives us 13 million. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown, we're going to do the same thing. 34.5 million saved this year, adding 3 void years. Okay. Now, here is what their base salary is now. Jared Goff is 1.1 million. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 1.1 million. Okay. Now, Ali McNeil, he's 37.9 million. I can restructure him. Okay. We're going to save now. If his base salary, this is why, because I didn't add the void years. Okay. So add the void years. Okay. And then we save 29.4 million this year. Boom. Okay. Now Ali McNeil is at 1 million. Penei Sewell is at 1 million. Taylor Decker, that's going to be a slippery slope. The only remaining are Taylor Decker and DJ Reed. We're definitely going to, I don't even want to restructure DJ Reed, but we got to. So the void years. And then for you guys that don't know, so the void years, if they're no longer on your team, those void years are still being paid. So for example, DJ Chark was still on our books like 3 years after he was off the team, right? So you still can be paying people's salary. There still can count against your cap when you do void years when they're no longer on your team. So, all right. So we did that and we're at 71 million. If we do Taylor Decker, according to this number, we will be at 77.6 million. Okay. Now, here's the fun part, right? We got Trey Hendrickson. Let's say I want to negotiate with him. I'm going to negotiate. Okay. What am I going to say? Watch this. Right now, they call him a bag chaser. Okay. I'm going to offer him $5 million a year. Watch what happens. Offer submitted. Trey Hendrickson is considering it. It should have said something different. It should have said that we were insulting him. So this is that, right? So then I'll advance a day. Daily recap: Mike Evans signed with Kansas City. He wasted no time. Okay. Trey Hendrickson, I've been outbid by who? Who outbid me? Jacksonville's offering $30.1 million a year. So now I've got to submit this offer of $31.6 million to have a chance to beat Jacksonville. And then we signed Trey Hendrickson. Right? He took the $31 million a year. He jumped at the chance. Okay. So then when we end free agency, then we jump into the draft. So that's just something that I added that wasn't there yesterday. Here's the contracts 101. Like I said, there's 3 videos here. Learn from the pros. And then we've got the contract glossary, so on and so forth. We good? I know Dan Campbell thinks we are. Where am I at? I'm back here. All right. What up, though, Mr. Raw 313? Mailbag, 3 favorite states in the USA. 3 favorite states. I mean, of course, Michigan. Bro, what would be a favorite state? Michigan, Florida. Like, I've been all up and down the Eastern Seaboard, but I mean, I guess I would say Maryland because they got really good seafood. I don't know, bro. That's an interesting question. I never thought about it. Don't forget, once you get rid of a player, all unpaid guaranteed money is due in 2 years if it's done pre 1st of June, and 3 years if it's post June. That includes trades. Facts. I do have the pre-post stuff in there. That's the next step for the algorithm. North Carolina is pretty awesome. Yeah, I've been there. I don't know. I didn't spend a whole lot of time in these places. I've just been to them. You know what I mean? Been to them, been through them, all that. Michigan, California, and Rhode Island. Rhode Island for the why? Why Rhode Island? Alrighty. Let me see. Okay, I'm good. Just checking my time. It's not even an island, LMAO. Yeah, I've definitely never been to Rhode Island. Newport, Rhode Island is beautiful and a party city. Okay, I got you. But you know what? The funny thing is I've never been west. I have been all over the world, but never west in the States. So yeah, I've never been to Cali. I've never been anywhere on the West Coast. Isn't that crazy? So yeah. All right, I'm going to get prepared to get out of here. So let me go ahead and bust a move, and I shall holler at you all tomorrow. All right. Once again, the Motor City Cats R&D back at it. We came to give you stats, not none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And we are out. Peace.